When I started pursuing YouTube as my creative profession, I was filled with dreams. I will have a channel with millions of subscribers, quit my job, then I can spin off doing my own merch, clothing brand, video games, or whatever else really.
Double the amount of liquid.
Double the amount of liquid. Double the amount of liquid.
That was the dream anyhow. Over 2 years later, I'm still stuck working my 9 to 5. Now that would be okay, some things take time after all, if not for the amount of damage my life has taken.
Now that's a lot of damage!
And the same thing happened in one of Tatsuki Fujimoto's one-shots, and even the ones who aren't a one-to-one example still perfectly capture what it's like to turn art into a job. So let's talk about what it's like, and if you want to do this yourself, hopefully you can learn from mine and Ayumi's mistakes, and if you stick around to the end, there is even a secret tip from one of Tatsuki Fujimoto's other works. But first, look back. For those of you who don't know, it's about Ayumi Fujino and Kyomoto's artistic journeys. It starts in Ayumi's class where they have a school's newspaper and she has the task of making a small manga in it. Her classmates love her manga and she takes a lot of pride in making it. In fact, she builds her entire identity around it. She is the girl that can draw and make the popular school manga. She even starts dreaming, or at least playing, with the idea of one day becoming a mangaka, and let me tell you, this is a one-to-one comparison with what it's like to start YouTube, especially when you start getting some views. Now, it pains me to say this, but when I had my first 2K video, I was like, I started spiraling into the dreams I mentioned in the beginning of this video.
Double the amount of liquid.
But just like in Look Back, this did not last too long though. You see, one day the teacher asks Ayumi to let one of her pages go to a student who doesn't come to school. She agrees, even warning the teacher that the student might not be able to produce results, but will soon regret it. Because when the next newspaper comes, next to her art is some really impressive art. Her identity as the girl who's good at drawing quickly falls apart. What ensues is her yearning questioning why she's even doing art in the first place. And boy, this is equally true for YouTube. When you do art, you are in a constant competition with everyone else. That does not mean it can't be a friendly competition, of course, but still you are in a competition. In Ayumi's case, since Kyomoto is never in school, she has used all that time drawing. On YouTube, I have to compete on covering topics with other channels. Usually these channels have several people working on them, and it's not like I can just rush out a video because then the quality won't be sufficient. Now, YouTube might be the extreme end in this case, but no matter what artistic profession you are pursuing, you will have to compete with what's already out there. But okay, so you realize you're not the best, you're working uphill, what now? Well, now comes the grind phase. Well, you know how some people say work smarter, not harder? Well, the only way to get to their level is to work hard and smart. And you need to understand that while you're doing this grind phase, you are also forcing yourself to a 9 to 5. And let me tell you, even if you liked your job prior to pursuing art, once you got that art career in your sights and it's viable, it wouldn't matter if your job was pure gold because it's nothing compared to El Dorado. In fact, my friend who got me into IT often asks me what I think about it, where I see my future, etc. Each and every time I have to disappoint him by telling him that while I don't mind doing IT, and I even think some parts are fun, it's hard to see a future there when you already know where you want your future to be. But as if that's not bad enough, the grind is even worse. Because apart from working hard, if there's one thing in life that's equal for all, that is that we all have 24 hours a day. Let's look at Look Back, and if you ever tried to pursue art as a profession, you know this is 100% what it's like. Now, Ayumi doesn't give up, of course, that would be a pretty bad movie. Instead, she starts spending more time practicing, and as a consequence, other aspects of her life start suffering. Her friends stop asking her to come do stuff once they realize she will just say no anyways, and for a while she is really isolated. And I'm not gonna lie, that happened to me as well. Now, of course I did have Discord as a bit of a savior, but I shit you not, for a while I literally thought it's good that I'm feeling this bad because I can use work as an escape from it, meaning I could use it as a motivation of sorts. Hell, I even neglected my health for YouTube. If you wonder what the picture earlier was, well, well, long story short, I would rather work on videos than do some basic cardio, and together with being sick, I had an asthma attack. As a result, I had to go to the hospital on New Year's Eve, and that wasn't even after my worst period with YouTube, so you can imagine what that looked like. For a while, I really considered myself a type of addict, and just like with Ayumi, my life was only one thing for a while. Or well, I would even go as far as to say I did have a bit of a screw YouTube phase, just like Ayumi has with her art. Somewhere along this grind though, the light shines through. In Look Back, it's Ayumi finding Kimoto, and in that a friend in What She Loves, and I could count more examples after that, but let's not spoil it. After all, I think you should see it. Instead, for me, well, I'm still grinding. Sadly, things aren't as fast as in the movies, but apart from the realization that I'm stuck doing this and do find it valuable, which is a weird duality of creativity by the way, that even though it's had a negative impact on you, you still don't regret it, it's also related to the secret tip I promised. You see, while my latest video did well good, the video before it did incredibly bad, and that forced me to think about my relationship with YouTube. In my pursuit for numbers, I had forgotten something, the very thing that made me start this channel in the first place. Doing something I loved. I was so focused on making great videos, I forgot to add my own explosions. What do I mean by that? Well, cue Goodbye Eri. Quickly summarized, Goodbye Eri is about Yuta Ito, who makes a movie about his dying mother. He shows it at a school festival and gets a lot of backlash for choosing to end the movie with him running out of the hospital to then have it explode. Of course, why he chooses to end the movie that way is explained later on in the manga, but the important part is the one person who likes his movie, Eri. Eri forces Yuta to watch a lot of movies and helps him to become a better director. I won't spoil too much here, but a minor detail is in the end, he realized the explosion was something he enjoyed even if it did make the movies worse. And well, in the same way, while it's good to cover trending topics and make algorithmically perfect videos, I also need to focus more on what I love as well. And to be honest, I think that will let me do better videos for you guys as well. But what do you think? What's your relationship with art? And if you want to find out more about AI and art, you can click here. With that said, take care. Bye!